G'day guys, this is BroadcastingBecause back with episode 3 of this AFL Live season mode with the Fremantle Dockers, and this week we take on the West Coast Eagles in the big Western Derby. The boys are coming off the back of a very good win last week against North Melbourne at Subiaco Oval, and although we're playing there again this week, it is an away game for us. Taking a look at the lineups for West Coast Eagles, always a very threatening lineup. I'm surprised they haven't done so well so far this season. No changes to the Fremantle lineup. The only difference is that Hayden Ballantyne will start in the half-forward line, and Kepler Bradley will also get his first start of the season in place of Paul Duffield in the forward pocket. Now straight away, I seem to be making a habit of this. West Coast get the ball, penetrating kick into the forward 50, marked by Jack Darling, and he will slot the first goal of the game in less than a minute. We've really got to stop conceding the first goal of the game. We're just making a complete habit of this. It's not a good habit to get into. But as Stephen Hill runs straight down the centre of the ground, finds Chris Mayne out in front, and he goes back and slots a quick response goal for the Dockers. We're back level after just a few minutes. The thing I was most impressed about this game was the way that we defended. We see Adam McPhee absolutely running down Josh Kennedy. Not too sure that that really was a free kick for holding the ball. Michael Barlow doing the same thing, but overall I was extremely happy with the way that Fremantle defended, making lots and lots of tackles. We see a lovely turn and go from Stephen Hill, who finds Aaron Sandilands. Not often he goes to ground to take the mark, but Ballantyne takes that one as well. Looking towards Jack Anthony, but the ball eventually spills over the back. Mundy finds Matthew Pavlich, who's absolutely on his own. Do not leave the Pav unmarked, he'll make you pay. And then a lovely inside ball finds David Mundy, and he goes back and slots his first as well. So early days, towards the end of the first quarter, the Dockers starting to really open up a decent gap. Lovely goal there as well from Mickey Barlow. I was really happy with the way we played in that first quarter. Quinton Lynch did get his first goal of the night just a minute out from the quarter time siren, but nevertheless the Dockers took in an 8-point lead into the quarter time break. We had so much more of the ball than West Coast. We probably should have led by a bit more. Sandilands racked up 5 touches. He's really come good in the last 2 weeks, but unfortunately we really couldn't take our momentum into that second quarter. Stephen Hill and Nat Fyfe had absolute blinders throughout the whole game. A lovely passage of play, but Kepler Bradley can't quite find Matthew Pavlich. This was really a quarter of missed opportunities. We should have really stretched out our lead. In fact, with just 7 minutes to play, Kepler Bradley kicked our only goal of the quarter, the only goal of the quarter. And one guy that was really putting his hand up and stood out right the way through this game was Stephen Hill. We see them making a crucial tackle, forcing the turnover and recovering well enough to get the ball and get the kick away. Unfortunately unable to find Paul Duffield, and then Aaron Sandilands unselfishly dinks it over the top to Kepler Bradley, who probably should have done a bit better. Only finds the behind there with just 53 seconds left on the clock. But as we go into half time, a very uneventful half, aside from Stephen Hill, who's racked up 10 disposals already in this game. I am very impressed with his performance. Hopefully he'll be able to keep that form up right throughout the season. And then a crucial mistake at the back by the West Coast Eagles, just kicking across the face of goal to Nat Fyfe. Has the chance to kick his first, but unfortunately it's sport right on the line. I'm going to be honest, this was the single most frustrating quarter I have ever seen. Scoring goals was impossible. In fact, neither team scored a goal throughout the entire quarter. West Coast didn't even score at all. The Dockers were able to put on 4 behinds for the quarter. Van Berlo here with a very good effort from about 52 metres out, but it is touched right dead on the line. And here we go, the last highlight of the quarter. Finding highlights was so difficult for this quarter. Neither Fremantle or the West Coast got much of the ball up forward at all. It was all in the midfield. Very few chances for shots on goal, and at the end of the quarter, Fremantle have their 19-point lead. Certainly not as much as I think we deserve, because we certainly did dominate this game. But thankfully, the fourth quarter was when Fremantle absolutely blitzed it away, and we got the margin that we really did deserve for dominating this game. Chris Mayne capitalising on a push in the back free kick inside the 50, and then straight off the next bounce, Mayne gets and goes, catches his opponent napping, and kicks his second for the quarter. Now, not sure what West Coast were doing here, just flapping it about, trying to get it out of their 50, and Pav capitalising on a miscued handball. Now Josh Kennedy takes a mark about 45 out, kicks it from 48, and he gets West Coast's first score since the first quarter. So happy with the way Fremantle defended in this game, keeping them scoreless for 2 straight quarters. The Pav there with another goal to add to his tally, which is really racking up. And again, the Pav making West Coast pay for their poor defence. Now this is my moment of the game. Paul Duffield stepping on the accelerators and chasing down McGinnity. That's my moment of the match. That is absolutely exceptional. And that is the way that it ended. Fremantle taking out the Western Derby, 67 points to 25 in a very dominant display. Aaron Sandiland, Stephen Hill, Chris Mayne topping the possession stats. Pav with 4. All my boys, I think, had an exceptional game, particularly the guys in the midfield. Very, very happy with the way that they played, and particularly happy with the way we defended and the fact that we kept West Coast scoreless for 2.5 quarters. Very, very pleased with that. Now, picking my man of the match this week was very, very difficult, but I did have to give it to Stephen Hill, who had an absolute blinder of a game, racked up 12 possessions, making 3 tackles as well, 6 marked, had an absolutely brilliant game. His highlights package was also spectacular, making important plays at very important times of the game. I had to pick him just over Chris Mayne, who also has been so consistently good for me. He's been top 2 of possession stats for all 3 matches so far, and I'm just absolutely over the moon with the way he's been playing for me as well. For goal of the week this week, there were 1 or 2 that I could have chosen, but I did end up going with this one from Matthew Pavlich, simply because of the Chris Mayne handball under pressure. That was exceptional to get it out of the back door to Matthew Pavlich, who kicked his 4th. And the final of the game as well. Well done, Chris Mayne. Missed out on man of the match by that much, but that is certainly your highlight of the game. Well, thanks very much for watching, guys. That brings an end to episode 3 of AFL Live Season Mode with the Fremantle Dockers. Be sure to check out the previous game against the Kangaroos if you haven't seen that. And the next game will be up against the Port Adelaide Power. That should be a great game. It's at home. Hopefully we can back up the good form that we've had over the last few games. Thanks very much again for watching, guys. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Really appreciate it. Thanks again, guys. Stay tuned.